Right. Hello, everyone. I am going to be sharing something. It's a system that I found useful in contemplation. We'll be doing a walkthrough of my profile, and the name of the system is called the Gene Keys. I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop here so you can see it. Alright, this is my profile. This is the web key itself. You can see in the gene keys, for those that aren't familiar, you have the genius, which is supposed to be the four most important nodes. I think Richard calls it a map of your wounding. But it's just another interesting system, kind of like Myers-Briggs in a way. It doesn't really map personality. It's difficult to fully explain what it is, but I'll go ahead and show it and you'll be able to get a feel for it. So they call this the activation sequence, and my life's work is a 15.3, so this is kind of what you're conscious of, and this is what you're mostly unconscious of. And this kind of describes like a journey of growth and healing and stuff like that. And so you have your life's work is the outward expression of your natural genius. It represents the role, service, or mission through which your inner light meets the world. This sphere speaks to the core challenge you'll face again and again, and the gift will emerge as you meet the challenge with grace. The sphere represents how you express your essence through your actions and deeds, and your authenticity deepens. As your authenticity deepens, your life's work becomes a beacon of meaningful impact in the world. And so for the 15, you have the shadow, which is the shadow of dullness, the gift, which is the gift of magnetism, and the fluorescence, which is the Siddhi. And then every one of these gene keys is influenced by a line. So if you read, they've done a lot of work on the profile updates, but if you look at what it used to be, so you have like my life's work, what I'm here to do. With the 15th gift as your life's work, the great key for you is to work within the right small grouping of people. This may refer to your family or a business. Within any small group setting, you have an unprecedented power. You bring the gift of flexibility to group dynamics. Through your natural ability to sense how group dynamics work and your gift of never judging others, you also bring a natural rhythm and aliveness to the group. Just because you thrive in a small group setting does not mean that you will not thrive in a large group or alone. You can readily adapt yourself to any setting or environment. But for you, the core of your life process will be found in the nuclear group, whether that is your closest circle of friends or your family. With the gift of your magnetism, you may well emerge as the leader, but your impact will be felt through your close circle, rather than you as an individual. Your qualities combine a deep love of humanity with an intuitive and logical understanding of human nature at its lowest and at its highest potential. And so we'll go ahead and go over like the shadow and the different aspects here. It's important to note that for shadows, when you're actually doing your own interpretation and contemplations, there are two different energies related to the shadows. If you get the book for it, let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. Oh, I think it's this one. So we were on the 15th G key. So here you'll see that you have they have different natures. And so you have a repressive nature and you have a reactive nature. And so, for example, the repressive nature for this one is when dullness takes hold of someone with a naturally repressive nature, it manifests as emptiness. This dullness is very different from boredom, which has a certain restless, energetic quality hidden within it. This kind of emptiness is very close to depression and, in fact, will inevitably lead to depression. Such a person has, at some level, given up. It is a kind of negative acceptance or resignation. It is acceptance that has only gone to a certain depth wherein one's nature has become stuck. Repressive natures are fear-based natures, and such people get stuck because at some level they become afraid of fear itself. This causes the locking mechanism within that leads to depression and other disorders of a similar nature. Such people can only escape these states when they discover the fear that is preventing the emptiness from moving deeper inside them, as we have seen. Once someone allows this primordial emptiness to saturate them entirely, it's no longer experienced as something separate from them. Neither is it experienced as emptiness. Rather, it's opposite. It is unleashed as a great surge of energy and vitality. And so here you have the reactive nature, the extremist. If you have a reactive nature, then you will rebel against the dullness. These people do not accept the dullness either, but their nature is to escape through denial. They often hide behind a kind of vagueness, moving from one experience to another, with no real sense of rhythm or purpose. Being extremists, they can find themselves in all kinds of diverse situations and places, but again, with no real direct sense of passion. These people are always on the move, never really able to commit to anything or anyone, running from their own shadows. Such people have a hidden rage within that prevents them from being with others for very long. Only when they see through their own patterns of reaction can they begin to accept what they're running from. All right, and so that is an example of how you can have the same sort of shadow that has two different manifestations. And I think as a contemplative exercise, looking at how your own nature is in relation to your patterns and aspects of yourself that might be hidden from your conscious awareness. Having some sort of example of what to look for can be important. So for me, it's definitely not the the reactive shadow that tends to manifest, but rather the repressive shadow. But you can see here on the key itself, without even, I think this is included in just the free profile itself. Although I do have some of the courses purchased from prior years. We can see that they define the Shadow of Dullness as this. Dullness is an attitude of melancholy or emptiness that can lead to depression, violence, rage, or frustration. So you see how there they kind of just mixed both the repressive and extremist definitions into like a very concise way of putting it. Dullness is rooted in the fear of ordinariness and repetition, yet often results in living a sheltered life inside one's comfort zone. It is the heavy feeling in the physical body when one is unable to access the vital spark of creativity, nor simply relax into the slower rhythms of life. When one gives in to the feeling that life is meaningless, it creates an empty attitude of apathy, resignation, and dull neutrality. Others react against this fear through an extremist attitude, looking for anything physical, mental, or emotional to distract them from the dullness. And then it goes into the gift. And so you have the gift of magnetism. Magnetism is the ability to attract the right resources and experiences by slowing down to match the rhythm of the Earth's natural cycles. Magnetism is a shift of attitude that begins to see the emptiness one once feared is actually a wellspring of possibility. By deepening the breath and relaxing the physical body, one is able to tap into the vibrant life force always available in the present moment. Magnetism sees the magic and the mundane and accepts ordinariness on a deeply spiritual level. Even boring daily tasks can be imbued with this sense of wonder. The gift becomes an enthusiastic and magnetic quality to others, allowing one to radiate love, respect, and nourishment and service to others. Magnetism is a unifying quality, embodying a deep kinship with humanity, as well as plant, animal, and mineral kingdoms and of the natural world. And the Siddhi of Florescence is the natural, spontaneous process of blossoming consciousness. The fluorescence occurs once awareness comes to rest, an event that occurs in its own timing, in tune with the cycles of nature. And it's the quality of the divine, irresistible beauty, aligned with deep trust, surrender to the natural wild nature of life. Fluorescence awakens humanity back into harmony with the natural world. And then you have like the line 3 changer archetype. As a changer archetype, you're invited to be true to your colorful, unpredictable, versatile lifestyle, or versatile style. Your life may call you to a diverse array of relationships, creative interests, careers, and locations. Your greatest strength lies in your capacity to adapt, to learn, to grow. As you explore life in this manner, you develop a wealth of wisdom and abundance of joy to share with the world. And so a lot of the benefit doesn't come from just reading the text, but allowing like the words to play off of you, to look for your different habits and tendencies in terms of the shadow, but also to orientate yourself towards your gifts. And so there's lots of different ways to invite these words to resonate off of you and to think about them, right? And so, like, what is a three energy? A three energy is an explorer, an experimenter. So these different concepts I tend to play with. I tend to be the playful one that takes these different concepts and allows them to be something I experiment with in order to learn more about them. And so you can definitely see, like, the energy of dullness plays off of these other, they call them like the programming partners. But also, like, all the different shadows are interconnected in different ways. So you have the shadow of dullness, shadow of self-obsession, shadow of constriction, shadow of seriousness. And so, for instance, with self-obsession, it also has a different dualistic nature to it, wherein one version of it is the actual self-obsessed person that pretty much only thinks about themselves. Others aren't really factoring into their concept when they're operating. They're in their shadow. But the flip side of that, the other side of that coin, is the version of the one that self-abandons. The one that constantly gives and gives and gives from an empty cup without properly setting boundaries. The one that is almost altruistic to a fault. And so that sort of energy is the version of self-obsession that I tend to observe in myself. And when I am in that deep shadow, the dullness comes in, right? The dullness that invites emptiness and melancholy and depression. So here we have these type of people live entirely for others, compromising their own power onto outside authority figures and living through unhealthy martyrdom patterns. And so it's like the self-sacrificing kind of unhealthy altruism. It's the martyr complex. And so the evolution is what you, in terms of your sphere, is your greatest challenge in this life, in terms of where you are going to find a lot of your struggle and a lot of your growth. And so focusing on understanding these two spheres gives you a lot of value. Now, I had already done a lot of self-work before I came to this system. And just like a lot of other astrology-based systems that kind of have that are based off of your natal chart, I do find a lot of overlap with what they describe about me and my journey and the particular story arcs that my life takes, and personality traits and things that emerge out in order to be experienced and learn from and grow from. So you can see that part of that was in just the last video. I was talking about that naturalness is a struggle for me. Being is a struggle for me, or has been. I've gotten very good at being in flow states and being a lot more in tune with my natural rhythms and learning to get out of the mind and be more in tune with the present moment and more in harmony within myself and outside of myself, and learning to be my own self-advocate and to set boundaries and to learn that my needs matter, because that comes up from past childhood trauma, right? The constantly living in an environment where your needs were never met, and actually being seen at all invited pain. So minimizing yourself, making yourself small, being the emotional regulator for other people in order to minimize their own regulation or dysregulation. So yeah, that has stayed with me through most of my life, through the entire time I've been alive on the planet, and that comes up in the different patterns that I observe about myself, and where's my energy being constricted, what are the concepts and virtues and things that I hold true, right? And so in a lot of ways, like, I still relate a lot of that stuff with my own values that emerged from out of that experience. And so there's a lot of tendency to think about and be considerate for other people, to be caring and things of that nature. That could just be the cancer in me. But it's also comes from the parts of the nervous system that see other people being in dysregulated states as a threat. I'm just learning how to sit with that and be comfortable with other people being uncomfortable, or with your own boundaries and stuff is one of the growth points that I have. But like I said, it's a line 3. So it's been a very much huge trial and error process throughout my entire life to be able to slowly navigate up the rungs of energy and vibration, to be able to sit in this space here more and more and more. And then you have your radiance, which is the thing that just, when you've actually done your inner work and you're embodying your life's path, and you've done your challenge work, and you've navigated the path. You can click on these little paths: the pathway of challenge, pathway of breakthrough. Well, then you start to embody your unconscious radiance and your unconscious purpose. And so, like, my unconscious radiance is universal love and acceptance and constriction. If you look a lot of my past writing, especially in like my 20s, it was focused very much on constriction, and it was focused very much on acceptance and very much on universal love. And so in that ways, the line 5 is kind of like the leadership energy. Your vitality is fueled by your inner drive to impact the world. Your charming radiance may draw people to you that can help enact beneficial change and transformation in the world. In this way, you're a natural leader and must seek practical channels for your creative spirit. And so the line 5 is basically, tends to be like competence energy. Like, this is a domain that you tend to be pretty good at whenever you're out of your shadows, whenever you found your constrictions and lighten them up. And so with that, you have like seriousness and delight and ecstasy, and like, you can look at the relationships here, like, what is the nature of seriousness and how does it relate to delight, and how might seriousness as like a thing flower into delight or into ecstasy. And so, like, when you look at seriousness is a very heavy energy. It's a very constricting energy. When you're in a state of constriction, you're also in a state of seriousness. And when you're in a state of acceptance, you tend to naturally also gravitate higher into unlocking your own capacity for delight and later ecstasy. The less serious and the lighter you are, the less heavy you are, the more you allow yourself to play, be in your play energy, the more you're also in your delight energy and in your ecstasy energy. But then again, like naturalness and beingness are difficult for me in that respect, right? Like I still have to learn how to be in my delight and in my ecstasy, or had to. Like it comes a lot more naturally for me now, but recognizing that the degree to which you make things serious is also the degree to which you limit your own capacity to be in your play energy and to connect with your capacity to be in your delight energy. Like if you're like really serious and blocky and raw, like this matters. Like this is very, very important. Like that's seriousness energy, right? That can hold you down. That can limit your own connection to ease, naturalness, effortlessness, joy, any of those lighter emotional states that allow you to have fun and to be in a state of fun. Like for a long time, throughout a lot of my childhood and through a good portion of my 20s and maybe even into my mid-30s, having fun was like very alien to me as a concept in some ways, because like I was in situation and circumstances that just kind of demanded seriousness from me, or at least I thought demanded seriousness from me, right? Because you're always the one in control in terms of your belief cycles and how they show up in your present experience in order to shape and change how you interact with the world. And so the more you learn to lessen your constriction, the more you allow yourself to also lessen your seriousness. The more you sink into your capacity for acceptance, your capacity to allow, your capacity to be in flow in your own naturalness, and the more you'll get in touch with the empathy inside of yourself that allows you to also be in your neutral state and also be able to step into other people's frameworks in order to understand them more. Yeah. And then they also have, this is the main one that you want to work on. This is, I guess, like 80% of it. And then they also have love and prosperity, and they just recently added harmony, which I don't know as much about. They do have a lot of these courses, but they are a bit on the expensive side. So I would recommend that you get them through the through Kindle, because you'll get them a lot cheaper if you actually want to read the different things, but you won't get the interactive bits. I think you still get this profile just by having the free profile, but you won't be able to have the different things, such as being able to have the audio for the different love spheres. I think you get the audios for the Genius, but if you click on these and you want to go to audio, I think this is something you have to pay for. I have paid for it. But yeah. And so the sphere is, like I said, it's a journey. So it's a sequence. That's why they call it a sequence. So you start here and you travel through the spheres. And then you travel deeper into your intimacy and your capacity to connect with other people and to have relationships with other people. And you open up the flowering of your love. And it's definitely just really interesting to see how you can see these different words and energies in your profiles and look at where these 3s and 5s and 4s and 6s and stuff all show up. But that's all I wanted to share was just a simple example reading from this. I don't know if you've been to my website, you've probably seen me do one on the purpose sphere. I think I wrote about that there. It seems like there's some barking right now, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and you guys have a lovely day.